Hello and welcome to the presentation. My name is Andrew Relman. My group is Ileana Triana, Paramala Sarapu, and Alex Van Vlanderen. Our company is LPA Textiles, a textile business. Today we will be discussing the textile business as a whole, our company's objectives, our value proposition, and the criteria we use to compare the countries that we had, the countries that we compared, and then finally our final choice of which country we will do business inside. Little overview of the textile industry. The textile industry refers to the production, refinement, and retail sale of clothing and garments. The industry was worth an estimated $800 billion in 2019 and is expected to exceed that in coming years. This industry employs 20 to 60 billion and accounts for 2% of the world's GDP. Asia is the largest producer of textiles. More than 60% are produced on that continent. The threat of sweatshops is still an issue. Much of the clothes worn by Americans, perhaps even the shoes you are wearing right now, were made in sweatshops. But our company, LPA Textiles, will always value the comfort and safety of our employees, ensuring they are paid fairly and respected. Our main objectives are economic growth and use of resources, but there's a social aspect as well. We strive ever to create wealth in the form of opportunities, which will alleviate the strain of poverty on the towns that we will base our production in. The human element. We will always ensure the safety of our workforce. Although restrictions in these countries may be lenient, we will always uphold a high standard of conditions in our workplace. Our value proposition. Our values are such that we find it necessary to provide our customers with a wide array of products, ensuring the highest qualities, the highest comfort, as well as having a competitive price in the industry. There are many factors to consider when choosing a country to move your business to. Plenty of benefits as well as drawbacks that may range from low taxes to low corruptions or the other way around. Different environments vary widely from country to country. Therefore, our criteria of comparison are based on the analysis of both qualitative and quantitative factors for each of our country. The fundamental characteristics that might have a critical impact on the development of our business overseas. The quantitative approach considers different aspects such as GDP, GDP per capita, exports, and labor force data. And our qualitative approach, it is essential for us to evaluate the political, economic, legal, and technological environment that could also affect our company's international investment. The analysis allows LBA to identify and evaluate fundamental factors that might have critical impact on the development of our business overseas. Furthermore, the analysis can be used to effectively for our company to take advantage of these opportunities and develop a comprehensive risk management plan. So here's a little bit about each of our countries. Thailand has the second lowest GDP that we observed. That's 529.2 billion. Thailand had the lowest unemployment with a shocking rate of 0.75. That's less than 1%. Their workforce is 38 million and their top export is machinery. Malaysia had the second highest GDP of our countries, coming in at 365 billion. Malaysia has only 3.41% employment, which compared to the rest of the world is still very low. Their labor force is only made up of 15.28 million, but their main export is electronics. So, Indonesia has by far the largest GDP of the countries we researched. Its $1 trillion GDP is partially due to it being the largest country on our list. Indonesia had the highest unemployment of our countries, coming in at 4.51, but like I said, it's still pretty low compared to the rest of the world. The large labor force is 136 million. Indonesia's main export is oil. They have enough oil to last their country for 50 years autonomously. 3.5 billion barrels in their reserves accounts for 0.2% of the world's oil. The Philippines came in the bottom of our list at GDP, only 330 billion. They have 2.34% unemployment and a labor force of 42.7 million, and their main export is electronics. Our qualitative approach looks at four factors that could impact our organization: political, economic, legal, and technological factors. Thailand has the second largest economy in Southeast Asia, and the country's economic foundation is sound, with low inflation, low unemployment, and low debt. Exports play a large role, accounting for 2/3 of the GDP. Textile industry employs around a quarter of the workers in Thailand, which is good for us. However, the political situation in Thailand is unstable at best. After a coup in 2014, the current prime minister has just been elected, and it is still hard to pass legislation. Based on the World Economic Forum on Global Comprehensive Report 1980 through 2018, it was found that the legal efficiency was rated a 3.8 out of 7, which is a bit above average on this scale. This means it is a moderate level of legal risk. Based on that same report, it determined that Thailand's technological readiness, it scored a 4.2 out of 7. This means slightly below moderate level of technological risk, which isn't bad. Malaysia, on the other hand, has an economy which is very diverse, very robust, with a focus on industrialized and knowledge-based industries. Malaysia is one of the world's largest exporters of semiconductors, devices, and electronic goods. The government has ambitious plans to make the country a key producer and developer in high-tech products, including software. Malaysia's economic freedom score is 74.7, making its economy the 24th freest in 2020 index. Malaysian politics have been relatively stable over the last decades, but a perceived high levels of corruption, especially in the government, weakens public trust. Malaysia is ranked 51 out of 180 countries in Transparency International's Corruption Perception Index. Indonesia is seen as a future economic giant. It is the largest economy in Southeast Asia. The corporate tax rate in Indonesia is 25%. Indonesia's economic freedom score is 67.2, making its economy the 54th freest in the 2020 index. Indonesia has a stable government and is actively working to lower corruption and extortion by police looking for bribes. They're getting rid of that. Based on the World Economic Forum on the Global Competitiveness Report, Indonesia scored a 3.9 out of 7 on legal efficiency, placing it at above average legal risk. According to that same study, Indonesia scored a 3.5 out of 7 on technological readiness, placing it at a moderate level of technological risk. So not too shabby, Indonesia. Well-diverse and under sound macroeconomic management, the economy of the Philippines has been one of the region's top performers in recent years. The Philippines' economic freedom score is 64.5, making its economy the 70th freest in the 2020 index. The Philippine economy has retained its moderately free rank for the 7th year in a row. The total tax rate for commercial profits is 43.1. The Philippines, however, is known for rough and tumble political scene. Corruption is widespread, and the country is currently ranked at 113th out of 180 of the Corruption Perception Index, so officially not good. According to the World Economic Forum, the Global Competitiveness Report, and in the category of legal efficiency, the Philippines only scored a 3.3 out of 7, making it a high in the level of risk for legal risk. The same report shows that the Philippines scored a 3.9 out of 7 in the technological readiness, making it below moderate risk. When comparing the GDP tax rates of these countries, a more detailed picture of their economic position is painted. With the exception of Indonesia, these countries all have very similar GDPs. This is partly due to Indonesia's great size and population advantage. Looking at the taxes, the Philippines and Thailand have the highest, followed by Malaysia and Indonesia. When observing GDP per capita, it is clear that Thailand is the leader, followed by Malaysia and then Indonesia. In summary, this analysis allowed us to better understand these countries and make a more informed decision about them. Corruption is a problem in all 4 countries. However, Malaysia Corruption Perception Index is the lowest, coming in at 51, in comparison with Thailand and Indonesia and the Philippines. Malaysia's economic freedom score is 24, making it the freest economy that we compared. Thailand stands as the country with the lowest tax rate, being 29.5% on commercial profits. Indonesia, however, has the highest ranked nominal GDP, according to the International Monetary Fund, and Malaysia has a very little risk on the legal front. So, the results of the technological readiness show that Malaysia is the highest. After our analysis and taking into account political, economic, legal, and technological factors for each country, we have decided that Malaysia is the country we want to invest in. The stable political landscape of Malaysia is the most beneficial to us, as the country is ranked the lowest of the 4 countries on the corruption index. Malaysia offers dynamic and vibrant business environment with the ideal prerequisites for growth, profits supported by a market-oriented economy and pro-business government policies. The legal framework of Malaysia was another major factor in making our final decision. Malaysia ranked 15th worldwide, far above any of the other 3 countries considered. In particular, its high efficiency in challenging regulation and settling disputes showcased a system that is just and fair, and is a location that we trust performing partnerships with. Malaysia is the highest scoring technological readiness country. That means that the country is more willing to adopt and explore digital technologies as a key driver for economic transition in business, government, and wider society. I thank you for your time, and I hope that you enjoyed our presentation.